What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the On Friar Podcast. I am your host, Derek Togerson. Dorney Tripp, our intrepid co-host, is taking some much-needed family time, so you're stuck with me for the next half hour or so talking about Padres baseball. The first rough patch of the year, but how rough really is it? On people getting a little bit concerned about what might be happening with the Friars, but I'm here to be your Jiminy Cricket, your conscience sitting on your shoulder telling you why, hey, everything is still fine with this team, all things considered. And when you look at what they have done, even with the challenges that have hit them early in the season, things are looking pretty darn good for the Friars right now. So thanks to OGs for all they do for the On Friar Podcast. They are your sponsor here. Go watch a sporting event, get some nice food, get some nice drinks. OGs locations all over San Diego County. So without further ado, here is the walk-up music. All right, folks, I'm big on context. Context means a lot. It means a lot in relationships. It means a lot in interpersonal communications. It means a lot in professional sports. Like, look at the NFL draft is going on, just started as I am recording this. And you look at what perspective is. Like, some teams, like the Titans, look at Cam Ward as a guy who's been the number one overall pick in the draft pretty much for the last 3 or 4 months or so, while Shedeur Sanders, nobody quite understands what to do with him or where he might end up. He might end up with a 3rd overall pick or not in the 1st round. So context with guys and how they fit into systems and how they might get along with players and what their parents might be saying, it all means something in the grand scheme of things. So let's put into context what the Padres are dealing with right now. Yes, they went on the road and lost 2 straight series, their first 2 series losing streak of the season so far. But look at what they did in those 2 series. First of all, they lost Luis Arraez, the 3-time reigning batting champion, to a very scary concussion. Thankfully, it looks like he's going to be okay. He's eligible to come off the injured list this weekend when the Padres host the Tampa Bay Rays at Petco Park for a 3-game series. I mean, they didn't. Let me just run down the list of everybody on their injured list right now, right? You know about Joe Musgrove. You know about Yu Darvish. They haven't been with the team all year. Ditto Matt Waldron. Matt Waldron's been on the injured list with an oblique issue since the middle of spring training. He was a guy who might have been in the mix for one of those top 5 starting rotation jobs that's gone to Kyle Hart and Randy Vasquez. Those guys have been at times good, but overall good enough for the Padres to win. They don't have Jackson Merrill, who, by the way, is one of the best young center fielders in all of Major League Baseball. They don't have his backup in Brandon Lockridge, who is also out both with hamstrings. He's a guy who has been very serviceable, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And they've got Tyler Wade and Connor Joe, 2 guys who have almost no center field experience whatsoever, holding down center field and actually doing a pretty darn good job of it. Jason Hayward also on the injured list. So basically, and Jake Cronenworth also on the injured list with a broken rib. By the way, how tough is Jake Cronenworth, where he actually suffered a broken rib, played a game, hit a home run with a broken rib before they finally said, dude, you got to go get some rest. He should be back in a couple of weeks as well. So they're missing all these guys. Plus, they haven't had Brian Hoeing or Sean Reynolds. Those are 2 guys who haven't been around since spring training. They were both supposed to be in the mix for a bullpen role. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 guys, including almost half of their opening day starting lineup that are on the injured list. That's an insane number of guys who've gone down in the first 4 weeks of the season. And yes, they went and lost 2 out of 3 in Houston and 2 out of 3 in Detroit. And yeah, that stinks. But I know people have kind of poo-pooed the level of competition because the Braves got off to a terrible start. And yes, they did get a chance to sweep the Rockies. It was their turn in the deli line, and Colorado's 4-19. But since the Braves opened 0-7, they've gone 10-7, and they should probably be back over 500 in just a couple of weeks. That's a very good baseball team that's finding its footing. So that's not exactly something to sneeze at. They went into Houston and Detroit, 2 teams with winning records, 2 teams with very good winning records at home, and both were 2 teams who are in 1st or 2nd place in their division. And yes, I know they're only 5-7 on the road, but they also went to Wrigley Field to play the Cubs, who are in first place and have been very good at home this year. Of course, they went to Sacramento and got that one series win against the A's, who were in last place, but that's just a very weird situation. So when you look at the context of what they've had to deal with, they went and played two very good teams, division contenders, if not division leaders. And yeah, they were close in most of the games and only won two of them, but those are good teams in their own ballparks. The Padres are still 12-1 at home. And I know they did get the Rockies in here, but they've also played Cleveland, who is right on the brink of being in first place. They got Chicago Cubs, who are in first place. They did, in fact, get the Cubbies, who, again, they're in first place. They've gotten some really good ball clubs they've had to play in this ballpark. So, yes, they might have had it easy with the Rockies, but they're beating the teams they're supposed to be beating, and they're doing enough to stay competitive with teams that are also very good. And by the way, they're doing it completely shorthanded. So they've done this really, as you know, Fernando Tatis Jr. is right now the front runner in many people's National League MVP balloting, because the guy's been absolutely tremendous. I mean, what more can you say about what Fernando Tatis Jr. has done? I'm not sure there is much more you can say about what Fernando Tatis Jr. has done. I mean, same number of strikeouts as walks. That's the most impressive thing about this for me with Toddy is his chase rate. If you look at it through Baseball Savant, hasn't improved much. I mean, it's at a career best, but not by all that much. His walk rates is about the same as it has been. His strikeout rate, he's cut in half from his previous career high, about 12.5%, because he's putting balls in play. He's taking singles. And how many times have we talked about it on this very podcast where we say, if Toddy just puts the barrel of the bat on the ball, he is going to make things happen. He doesn't have to sell out for everything and try to hit a ball 500 feet. That's where he starts to get himself in trouble. The swing gets a little bit long. He starts to tie himself up, get under some balls, top some things. His timing gets all off because he's trying too hard to hit the ball too hard. He has not done that at all in the 2025 season. What's really weird about it is 8 home runs, only 1 double, and he has the 1 triple, which is really, really strange when you're talking about a guy with the speed of Fernando Tatis Jr., also nearly perfect when it comes to stolen bases. So, I mean, the speed is still there, but it's a lot of singles. He looks like Luis Arias, the number of singles. Now, granted, some of those singles have been 104, 105 miles an hour off the bat, and he's still hitting the ball very hard, just right at the left, right, or center fielder. So it's been awesome to see what Toddy has done. And it's, again, when he said it during FanFest, I was there and I asked him the question. When he said, I consider myself to be second to none on the baseball field. And the big caveat there was when my body's healthy, it is, and when my mind is in the right place. And his mind is in the right place. And it's going to stay there, I think, for the duration of the season. We're talking about now more than a month into this season. And he's been able to keep the same approach, even with guys going down around him in the lineup. That's, I think, the big key here. As guys have gone down around him in the lineup, he still has not felt the need to go outside of his own skill set, to swing too hard, to hit a 6-run home run leading off of a game, because that's what he used to do. So the fact that he's gotten that part of the game down from a mental standpoint at the age of 26, obviously physically he's an absolute freak, and he's going to be that way for a long time as a guy keeps himself in incredible shape. The fact that his baseball IQ and his approach and his skill set have all kind of coalesced and gelled the way that it has right now, I am nothing but excited about what Toddy is going to do the duration of this season. 300 average, 40 home runs. The RBI total will probably be down because, again, he is hitting leadoff, and the Padres have had a little trouble turning over the lineup on the back end there, especially with this many guys who are on the injured list. But he is going to be right there in that MVP conversation. If he continues to do what he's doing, even something close to this, he will run away and hide with the National League MVP award. So it's been great to see what he's been able to do with this lineup, with picking up the lineup offensively. And also, as you know, it's been the bullpen. And I mentioned 2 guys in Sean Reynolds and Brian Hoeing, who are supposed to be some of your, Reynolds was going to be one of your big arm kind of late in the game kind of bullpen guys. He was fantastic in a small sample size in his rookie, well, not even his rookie year. He still has a rookie status in 2024. And then Hoeing was a guy who ate multiple innings. He was going to be what Logan Gillespie has turned into. And Gillespie, God bless him, he has done what he is capable of doing and eaten a lot of innings. He's simply not the same caliber pitcher that Brian Hoeing is. So the Padres maybe even have a game or 2 more if they had their long relief guy when the starter just, Randy Vasquez isn't really bad, but he throws so many pitches. He's got 80 pitches through 3 1/3 innings, and you have to get him out of there. That's where Brian Hoeing comes in and gives you another 2 2/3 or 3 innings to get it, to keep the game close and get you to the late inning bullpen guys, which have been absolutely tremendous. And the fact they've got now a 1.76 bullpen ERA is incredible to me. By the way, best bullpen ERAs in baseball, Padres, 1.76, number one. Behind the second best bullpen ERA in all of Major League Baseball is the Mets at 2.35. So we're talking 0.6 of a run better than the next best team. By the way, you can go 0.6 of a run will then take you to between New York and Detroit. New York and New York, the Yankees between 2 and 6 is in. That's what the gap is between first and second, and then 2 and 6. That's how dominant the Padres relief pitchers have been this year. And again, every now and then somebody's going to have a bad outing, but they don't chase it with another bad outing. Yuki Matsui has been really good. Jeremiah Estrada has been really good. Robert Suarez is, oh my God, that dude is absolutely lights out. Jason Adams, same thing. He's been truly fantastic early in the season. It's been awesome to watch those guys work. And that's, again, been a very big reason the Padres are sitting in first place in the National League West. And by the way, they're 17-8, second best record in baseball. Yeah, the Mets are off to a great start. And I really don't see the Mets being sustainable because I still don't know what their starting pitching is going to be through the duration of the year. Yeah, they've won 7 straight games. They're on a roll. Teams do get hot, and that's what the Mets are on right now. But I just for whatever reason, they just, unless they get, all of their guys who were hurt come back, and some of these dudes who were doing some things early in the year continue on this pace, I just don't see the Mets being sustainable. I mean, the Padres are going to get Darvish back. Dylan Cease is going to figure out what's going on and kind of mess up with the inconsistency that he's been having. He is going to figure out how to put himself in one of those, like we saw last May and June, when he throws a no-hitter and goes out 6, 7, 8 starts in a row with like a 1.10 ERA. He's going to hit a stretch like that. Michael King has been tremendous. Even the game that they lost in Houston, he made basically one mistake. He walked a leadoff hitter and gave up a home run, and that's it. Michael King is tremendous right now. Those two guys are going to be there the rest of the year. I know, by the way, Nick Pivetta is your number 4 starter. Are you kidding me? Nick Pivetta with a $120 earned run average. I remember talking to AJ Preller and saying, dude, what did you see in this guy? And they were like, we love the makeup. We love the guy. We love what we saw with the metrics. And they thought that him coming over from Fenway Park to Petco Park with the type of pitcher he was, and then tweaking things a little bit with Ruben Niebla, who, by the way, we loved Darren Balsley when he was here, and he was the pitching whisperer. Ruben Niebla is even better than Darren Balsley was. And I do not say that lightly. I mean, when Greg Maddux was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame and he did his induction speech, he mentioned Darren Balsley along with Leo Mazzoni by name as some of the best pitching coaches that he ever worked with. And Niebla is now surpassing what Balls was able to do. So this guy has been absolutely tremendous. Nick Pivetta, I wonder how many times in baseball history that a team's number 4 starter to start the year ends up being in contention to start an all-star game and maybe even in Cy Young contention all the way through, because it doesn't look like Pivetta's start is a fluke. It looks like this guy has figured himself out as a pitcher. And I heard Mark Grant on the broadcast the other day say something that was actually really, really astute. He said, it's like, or Mike Schultz said it, it's like, you got a guy who has got the experience and the stuff, and he's at a, quote, sweet spot in his career. Schulte said it. That's right. The sweet spot in his career where what he knows as a pitcher and the stuff and the physical skills are at their peak. And you're seeing right now what Nick Pivetta is capable of. Ditto, by the way, as I get a little bit off track, you're getting away from the pitching staff. Gavin Sheets, I talked to AJ again during the last homestand, just grabbed him out on the field and said, what did you see in Gavin Sheets? And he said, well, a couple things. One, he knows the agent really well. So he knew the guy, knew the makeup of the guy was really, really good. So he was going to come in here and fit into the clubhouse and fit into the clubhouse dynamic that is so good for the Padres last year and looks to be every bit as good as that this year. And that's something that I'd even criticized AJ on quite a bit, especially after the 2023 disaster of a season where nobody got along and nobody liked each other. AJ has learned you got to have people in here who are good with the other dudes in the room. So he found Gavin Sheets fit immediately into the room. They did a couple of tweaks to his swing, as we've talked about on this podcast. He stood up a little bit more, and he's able to get more of an athletic stance, and that's helping him to really get to his power to all fields because he's he's not a small human. The dude's like 6'3", 235. Like he could be playing, wide receiver in the NFL. He's not a small human being, and that power is coming through. And also remember, he was like the 46th or 47th overall pick in the draft a few years back. The talent is there. They weren't able to unlock it in Chicago with the White Sox, but if you look at how many guys the White Sox have had who have been highly touted prospects, who have completely flamed out at the major league level, it's astonishing. I mean, Yoan Moncada, the list goes on and on and on and on. They did, for whatever reason, Luis Robert is not living up to his potential. Eloy Jimenez not living up to the potential of these guys who came out are supposed to be these world-beating talents. It doesn't work for whatever reason with the White Sox. So get Gavin Sheets into an organization now that's figured out truly with the coaching staff and guys like Victor Rodriguez, the hitting coach, how to put guys in the best position to be successful. You're seeing what happened with Gavin Sheets. Big props to AJ Preller for making that one happen. And by the way, the Padres are still in first place. The National League West is insane. All right. On Thursday afternoon, the Giants won again. The Giants are 17-9. They're a half game back. The Dodgers are 16-9. The Dodgers are in third place in the National League West. They would be in first place by a comfortable margin in 4 other divisions in Major League Baseball. The only one, of course, being the National League East, where they would not be with the Mets, with having, again, the best record in baseball. She's talking about a third place team that is the best team in 4 other divisions around the league. And the Diamondbacks, by the way, I still contend they're 7-3 in their last 10. The Diamondbacks, I still think, will be a bigger threat to the Padres than the Giants will, because we know what they have. We know what the pitching staff looks like. We know what the lineup looks like. Corbin Carroll looks like he's been reborn, unfortunately, but it's damn fun to watch that guy play. He's got the speed. That's a heck of a ball player. I still think the Diamondbacks will be a bigger factor in who is in playoff contention by the end of the year than the Giants will. Credit to Bob Melvin and his guys for getting off to a great start, and what Buster Posey has done very quickly up there. Again, don't think that is sustainable given the fact that they just don't have the depth of talent on that roster that you need to truly contend throughout a 162-game season. The Padres, we've seen, they have the talent. Their depth is being tested right now, and they're superstars, as Manny Machado has said many, many times himself. They're superstars playing like superstars, and that has been able to keep them afloat with. And the depth has been pretty good. The depth has been pretty good. So when you look at the guys who are out there performing, it's been the dudes who need to be dudes who are doing well. Xander Bogaerts is showing a few signs here and there. What I don't get with Xander is, again, he's built like an NFL safety. Where's the power? He's got a few balls hard. He's got a few more doubles, a few more extra base hits the last, couple weeks or so. But where is the pop? Because that dude, he is so big and so strong. He's built like a truck. I don't know where the power outage is coming from with Xander. And he's a guy, again, we talk about it with Manny. His hands are in a weird place. He's getting out on his front foot. Arise is he's getting under the ball a little bit. You can look at these guys. Todd, he's swinging too hard. His stride is getting too long. You can tell what these guys are doing wrong. I cannot for the life of me still tell what is causing Xander Bogaerts to struggle with getting to his power in games. I hope they figure it out. I hope he figures it out. And I still will say this. I still think Xander Bogaerts is going to have a very good year. 18, 20 home runs, I think, is coming for him. Because I think he's one that once he figures it out and kind of unlocks that code, he'll hit 6-7 homers in a month for 3-4 months running. He can do that. He's done that in his career multiple times. I think that's what's coming for Xander. That he's got to figure it out upstairs, and then once he figures it out, he'll hang on to that for a little while. And the other thing about this Padres team that's interesting is we've talked about this many times. Mike Schilt's clubs throughout the entirety of his career as a manager have always been better in the second half of the season. Look what the Padres did at the end of last year. From mid-July on, they had the best record in Major League Baseball. When Schilte was with the Cardinals, they had a 17-game winning streak in August and September. This is a franchise record, which, by the way, for a team like the St. Louis Cardinals with the history of that franchise, to be the guy who oversaw the longest winning streak in that franchise's history, you're doing something right. That is something to be said. They've always been better in the second half of seasons. So if the Padres are here now, as Schilte says, better as the at-bat goes on, better as the game goes on, better as the season goes on. If they are this good now, what can we expect from them later on? Because they're only going to get healthier, and they're only going to get better and more well-adjusted, and they're going to figure things out as the season goes on. That's just what Mike Shildt teams do. I never thought I would say this, but given the fact that everybody in the Dodgers starting rotation and even their bullpen with Blake Tryon, it feels like they're all getting hurt, and this is just going to be a repeat of what the Dodgers had to deal with last year. I'm starting to second guess myself when it comes to, over 162 games, the Dodgers have too much talent. You can't catch them, right? But if their pitching staff keeps getting hit with injuries the way that this one has been, and the Padres get even better from this nice start that they've gotten off to, I can't sit here and say definitively that the Padres will not be able to run down the Dodgers and potentially win the National League West. I know. I have been vehemently against that like crazy. And I hope that I was wrong in saying that this year. And I hope that I'm not jumping the gun, getting a little too hyperbolic and saying that right now this year. But when you look at all the guys who the Dodgers are dealing with now, it's interesting because you realize that's why they went out and signed Kirby Yates and Tanner Scott. They got all these, bullpen arms, and you're going, oh my God, they've got guys who are all-star closers for other teams who are in the sixth inning duty. What are they doing? They're like the show Hoarders. Like there's hoarding bullpen arms. They got them all, but they're all going to be tested at some point this year, and they're going to need every single one of them. Brings up an interesting conversation I had with a couple of guys at spring training, and even at the end of last season. The Dodgers organization puts a massive emphasis on velocity and spin really above everything else. Now the Dodgers have also bought into metrics like no other organization has. I mean, they are teaching guys at the lowest levels of their minor leagues with the same type of iPads, the same type of approach and video breakdowns they teach at the major league level. That's why so many of their guys come in and are ready to go right from the start. But they are teaching spin and putting such a massive emphasis on it and velocity that pitchers are breaking down almost inevitably. And part of the reason that organization has signed so many guys is they know it's like accepted. These guys are going to go down at some point. So we just need to have such insane depth that when these guys inevitably do get an injury, we can just put the next all-star in there. Well, that's being tested really early on this year. And the beauty of a 26-man roster in Major League Baseball is you can't hoard absolutely everyone. Now, what they can do, obviously, is they have so many good prospects in the minor leagues. They can go out and trade for somebody at the deadline and keep backfilling when all these guys are getting hurt. But the thought around a few guys who I trust, who have been riding around baseball for a very long time, is sometimes these free agents are going to keep seeing this and guys keep getting hurt, and they're going to be like, you know what? I don't know, Dodgers, because that's what they do. They throw so much money at the problem that they don't have to worry about it because they can just take this money, take another $50 million contract and plaster over the hole in the wall and keep on going. Well, eventually guys are going to be like, listen, the payroll's great and I like getting the nice big paycheck, but my career and my health is more important to me. So there's a big thought among several people around the game that the Dodgers are going to start having trouble signing marquee free agent pitchers for this very reason. And we might be seeing it really finally come to a head this season with how many dudes have gone on the injured list. And if that is the case, then this division is ripe for the taking, and the Padres are ripe for the taking it. And oh my goodness, how wild would that be to get some of these guys back? By the way, quick thing when I was saying about the injury updates, Yu Darvish has been throwing a little bit. Hopefully Luis Arraez is able to come back from the concussion. Again, I've had 6 of them, which is probably why I'm a little bit out there most of the time. But sometimes they linger for, a day and you're fine. Sometimes they linger for 2 months and you just can't get over it. Hopefully Luis Arraez is back. Everything's cognitively fine. No headaches, no blurred vision, no impact on him whatsoever. And he's able to come back and continue swinging the bat the way he was swinging. He was hitting like with 348, 350 in the month of April at the time that he went down. So great to see him swinging. Hopefully he's able to come back. Jason Hayward might be the interesting one. The knee inflammation, you never really kind of understand what's causing that and how long he might be out. Great to see Tirso Ornelas back up. That's the guy that I was forgetting to talk about. Tirso Ornelas, a guy who's been in the organization since he signed as a 16-year-old, so 8-9 years now. It's just awesome to see that kid, Tijuana kid who has just been grinding, getting his chance now. I'm really hoping when he gets to Petco Park and he has a bunch of people from the family and friends in the stands. He just goes on a heater and just shows everybody that perseverance pays off, because Tirso Ornelas is the picture of Padres perseverance, sticking with it as long as he has. Hey, he's only 25 years old, but it seems like he's been around top 10 to 15 prospect list every year since like 2016. Like, he's been in that range. We're going, all right, he might be able to figure it out. Great to see the kid finally able to get to the big leagues after, again, another good start down in El Paso. Man, I am rooting like crazy for Tirso to have one of those stretches where he just goes on a tear and shows everybody, yes, if you stick around long enough and you believe in yourself, and you do have, by the way, some obscene natural talent, things can work out for you. So rooting big time for him to be able to get that first big league bomb in San Diego. Boy, what a moment that would be against the Rays. All right. I got 25 seconds left. That's it for me. Padres and Rays coming up 3-game set at Petco Park. Padres 12-1 coming into this series. If they can 15-1, what do you say? Sound good? The Rays are under 500. They haven't really been doing a whole heck of a lot. So we'll see how they're able to do. Everybody get healthy. Everybody, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. This is the On Friar Podcast. I've been your host, Derek Togerson. Thanks for listening to me ramble. We'll see you at the ballpark on Friday and all through the weekend.